Hello, my friends. Mac here, and welcome to beautiful Juneau, Alaska. Today, we're going to be getting into a topic that I've actually been unsure of how to dive into for a long time now, and that's how we find camping. The reason why I've been unsure of how to share this information is because it's actually a process that we've been changing and evolving for the last 5 years now. Often when people ask us how we find camping, they hope for a short and easy answer. But Owen and I pride ourselves on our ability to find remote spots with incredible views. Finding places like this takes time, planning, and research, but I think that we've gotten to the point where we can distill our process down for how we find camping and the tools that we use to do so to help you find some amazing camping spots for yourself. Speaking of tools that we use to find camping, this video is brought to you by our friends over at The Dirt. The Dirt is the top-rated camping app featuring millions of photos and reviews of campsites all over the country. The app has a ton of handy tools like the trip planner feature, offline maps, gear discounts, public land layers to help you find free camping, and a whole lot of other incredible features, all of which we'll get into later in this video. Thank you so much to The Dirt for supporting us so we can make helpful videos like this one. They've actually sent a discount code so you can get 90 days free of The Dirt Pro. Use the code BFN90 so you can take The Dirt out with you this summer as you head out on all of your grand adventures. In the description of this video, we'll have the discount code as well as the link for where to use it. Boom, let's go camping. Before we get into our process, I wanted to share what type of camping we're typically doing and why. 99% of the time, Owen and I are staying on public land using dispersed camping. We typically avoid established campgrounds because we have a vehicle that was built to be 100% off the grid 100% of the time. We enjoy the wide open spaces and solitude of dispersed camping. And because we don't need the resources that are typically available at established campgrounds, that's why we don't seek them out. However, if we're in need of a shower, water, or need to be in close proximity to a town or a city where dispersed camping might not be available, this is when we will seek out an established campground. However, situations like that typically only come up for us 3 to 4 times a year. That being said, this is the lens that we view finding camping through. I will be speaking in this video more to dispersed camping, but I will sprinkle in what little campground wisdom I have along the way. But just know that all of these steps can be applied no matter what type of camping you're looking for. This may come as a shock, but we don't just happen across places like this. Finding a camp spot like this takes a lot of planning and research ahead of time. Once we've identified an area that we're wanting to venture into, we'll then start to look at maps for areas of public land. As I mentioned, we like to stay on public land because we enjoy the solitude. We use 2 apps to find these types of areas. The Dirt and the Public Lands app have these handy map layers that you can toggle on and off to find Bureau of Land Management land, National Forest land, and many others, most of which allow for some form of free camping. Being able to see these types of public land borders makes it easy for us to identify an area that we'll then look for camping in. Once we hone in on a specific public lands area, then we'll start to take a closer look for a camp spot. For this, we like to cross-reference a few different apps, such as The Dirt and Overlander, just so we can see what all's out there. We often like to spend time in the comments and review sections on these apps so we can learn about people's experiences during their stay. This can be helpful in a few different ways, such as what type of vehicle was needed to get there, the road conditions, if they had cell phone service when they got to the spot, and if they just had a nice stay. Just keep in mind that some of these apps do require that you have cell phone service to use them. This is why it's so important to do your research ahead of time, because apps like The Dirt, Onyx, and Google Maps have handy little features that allow for you to download maps and use them offline. This is an incredibly important topic of which we'll get into a little bit more later on in this video. If you're an RVer or planning a camping road trip, it can be very difficult to figure out where to stop along the way if you're heading into an area that you're completely unfamiliar with. In this case, I would recommend the insanely handy trip planner app on the Dirt. I honestly have yet to find anything else like it. This feature helps you pick a path of travel from where you start all the way to your final destination by putting in important metrics such as the size of your vehicle and how tall you are. This is really important because it'll help you find a route that will avoid low overpasses and things of that nature. The Dirt trip planning feature also will ask you how long you would like to drive each day and if there's any particular parks or public lands that you'd like to stop at along the way. With all those details, it will suggest a route and even give you some cool stats on your trip, such as how long it'll take to drive, how many miles, and how much it'll cost in gas. Pretty cool, right? Once you've picked your route, the Dirt will suggest camping along your path of travel, be it if you're looking for an established campground with power and water, or even free camping. Gah, I just feel like this is such a cool feature. Even though Owen and I don't have the opportunity to use something like this all that often, it is a rad feature to help you on your trips. Now that we've covered finding camping, let's talk about getting there. Before heading off to camp, it's important to come prepared with your maps downloaded offline. This is helpful if the area that you're traveling to does not have service, but is also just a good habit to get into if you're ever not sure about the connectivity when you get there. We download maps offline using the Dirt, Onyx Off-Road, and Google Maps. I know this sounds like overkill, but as I mentioned, Owen and I get a lot of joy out of the hunt for an incredible camp spot. By having all of these maps downloaded offline, it ensures that we find an amazing spot no matter if we have service or not. The Dirt gives us more camping options, Onyx Off-Road gives us satellite imagery, Google Maps helps us navigate roads, and all of them allow for us to save waypoints for offline use. In full transparency, we're offline a lot. So it's really important that we come prepared with everything and anything. Not only will offline maps help you get to camp, but it also can get you out of a pickle if you happen to arrive and find your camp spot has been taken. And this is becoming increasingly common, especially as more people find and fall in love with the outdoors. With a backup plan and your maps downloaded offline, you will never be caught without a great place to camp. For example, one time Owen and I were traveling north on the California and Nevada border. We had picked a camp spot out well before we arrived and thought that camping would be a breeze that night. When we showed up, we found the road to be gated, so we looked at the map and found another way to approach from. Unfortunately, that road was closed too, but because we had our map saved offline, we were able to take a minute, look at the maps, and find another option. Ultimately, it took 4 tries to find a camp spot that day, but we were just thankful that we were able to recalibrate and secure a lovely spot. But it was all possible because we came prepared. Now that I think about it, we thought that that area would have service, and ultimately it didn't. I love it when preparedness comes in handy. Now, after all that, it's time to sit back and enjoy your camp spot. No matter where you camp, just be sure that you're being respectful of the land, animals, and the people who may be around you. This is particularly important for dispersed camping on public land, because we want to be sure that we all have access to these wild and wonderful places for years to come. If you're needing to brush up on your camping etiquette, which I think we could all use from time to time, and this is especially important if you're new to camping, we have an entire video dedicated to the subject, and we will link it in the description of this video below. In that video, we cover planning for camping, leave no trace protocol, fire regulations, how to leave a place cleaner than you found it, and bathroom etiquette in the great outdoors. So that's how we find camping. Finding an incredible camp spot is something that we get a lot of enjoyment out of, which is why we put so much work into it. There is nothing better than doing your research and showing up to a camp spot for the record books. In no way does your search for camping need to be as involved as ours is, but using tools like the Dirt and some of the other apps that we mentioned in this video can make planning for your camping trip a breeze. In the description of this video below, we have linked a blog post that is full of helpful information to help you plan your next escape, including our discount code for the Dirt. As always, we hope that you found this video helpful in getting you out and enjoying the outdoors that we love so much. Have fun, take care of our wild spaces, and we'll see you down the road. They've actually, oh my God, there's like a bug that just landed in my eyelashes. To look at, okay. Now that we've, this is particularly important. Camping and finding up your next escape.